Well, they put their life on the line each time they put the badge on their chest. Now, two members of the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors want to help the families of those who make the ultimate sacrifice. KTV's Katie Koppel breaks down the fallen hero tax break and what it means if enacted.
Much like Gold Star families honor the lives of fallen service members, a new proposal by two supervisors in Woodbury County looks to honor police officers and first responders killed in the line of duty.
So what the county board is going to look at tonight is a proposal where we would essentially say that we do not want to collect property taxes any longer for that family who has already sacrificed so much. So we extend family health insurance right now if someone gives their life in the line of duty, and this would just mirror that and be, I think, the right thing to do.
Taylor, along with fellow supervisor Dan Bittinger, brought forth the proposal to the board.
Our board will pass a resolution to the legislature and have worked with a couple of legislators already to draft bills in the House and Senate that would speak to that and allow us to do this at the county level.
The proposal has the backing of two local congressmen, State Representative Bob Henderson and State Senator Kevin Alonz.
Right now, there's not a provision to let a county do that if they want to. It's not a mandate, so it wouldn't force any expenditure of state money. It wouldn't force counties to have to spend their money on this fairly rare type of situation.
Alonz hopes to see this brought into the 2025 legislative session. If approved, it would give counties the option of enacting the property tax break for families of fallen heroes. Taylor says it's all about honoring those who protect us every day.
But it's something that we can do, and it's the least we can do when somebody's made such a sacrifice and their families continue to sacrifice as well.
It's a rare circumstance, but it's the right thing to do.
In Sioux City, Katie Koppel, KTIV News 4.
And as you know, of course, the new legislative session will begin in January. And new information just into the KTIV newsroom. Supervisors just passed the proposal at tonight's meeting. Well, as we